Hey there, Fletcher from All Things Overlanding here, and today I'm going to be doing a very concise walkthrough with a bunch of tips and tricks rolled into it of how I just installed my Midland MXT275 hard-mounted GMRS unit in my 3rd gen Nissan Frontier. So if you're wondering, I used a tap-a-fuse, so I'm going to show you exactly which one I tapped into and how I did that. I'm going to show you how I ran the wires. I'm going to show you everything, give you a ton of tips and tricks, and again, I'm going to try and keep it super short and concise. So if you want to learn more about how to mount a GMRS unit or any sort of thing that's 12 volt that's going to be in the cab of your vehicle, this will be a helpful video for you. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so let me kind of start by showing you where I ran the wires through the firewall, because that was kind of question number one for me, and once I figured that out, then I kept going from there. I also ran my antenna for the GMRS through here. I went with the Midland Ghost mount, came pre-wired with the cable and everything, so all I had to do was run that through the same place in the firewall, throw my little Ghost antenna on top of this thing, and I was good to go. So I'll put a link in the description down below to that, to the MXT275 Midland unit. That's a great GMRS unit for overlanding, camping, off-roading, that kind of thing. But again, both of them went through the firewall, which if you can see right back in there, there is, just like if you're familiar with these trucks, the 2nd gen Xteras and Frontiers, right down in there where that red wire runs, right? That's the positive coming out for the GMRS unit. There's a rubber grommet down in there. So all you have to do is pop that grommet out, run your wires down through it, and then put the grommet back. That's pretty much all there is to it. Then once I ran it through the firewall, right up there is where it comes out. And then I grabbed it, ran it down through here. For now, I still have this panel off, but basically there is like a little clip right back here behind the e-brake that has this little button on it. You just kind of pry with like a trim tool and pop that thing right off. And then you pull this tab off back here. Then there are 2 tabs inside of here, one that goes right in there and then one that goes in right down there. You just have to kind of pry those away, and then this whole panel will pop right off. And then as you can see, I ran my wires down, back behind all this plastic stuff here, and then underneath of this trim piece. Now, if yours is illuminated like mine is, you got to watch out for this cord. But then I ran it down underneath of all this stuff, and then actually it goes, I followed the these existing looms of cords right up under the seat. And then right next to, and I have the Fender audio, so I have this amp down here, but either way, there is a hole right there where other cabling comes out, and so I just basically pulled my cables out through there. They run underneath of the seat bracket over here, and then they plug into the back of the unit. Now, I didn't want to drill any holes because this is a brand new truck, so this thing is basically just sandwiched between the seat and the center console, and it's in there really good. Like, it's not moving at all. But then again, I wired up the cable for my antenna, and I wired up my positive and my negative coming from the battery, again coming up under the seat and then right underneath of the seat bracket so they don't get pinched, and into the back of the Midland unit. And all of your controls and everything are on the handheld itself, so you don't need to see that unit, which is a really nice feature. And then the way that I mounted it, I actually bought one of the magnetic mounts for GMRS or CB radios, and I'm going to show you how I mounted it. It's kind of unique. The thing about it is that it doesn't harm anything in the truck. I didn't have to drill any holes for this mount or anything like that. But so here's my magnetic mic mount right there. This was just a piece of like aluminum that I had laying around that was like actually part of like a tripod mount or something like that. So it's got some sort of holes through it. And then what I did was I just sandwiched it. So I took a piece of steel, and there is a 10 mil bolt right back there. So I took that 10 mil bolt back there, pulled it out, took this little piece of steel and bent it so that it had, a hole back there for the 10 mil to go through. And then I could attach this piece of aluminum up here, and then I could kind of adjust it. So you see that it's kind of crooked. That's intentional because I wanted to bend it away so it's out of the way of my leg when I'm sitting in the driver's seat. But then that basically just screws onto there and sandwiches that piece of metal to the other piece of metal. But then I didn't have to drill anything. I didn't have to do anything. It is about 5 inches from the back of that to here. And then I just have a couple extra inches hanging over that I bent up in a vise, and then I attach this thing. So there's a number of ways that I'm sure you could do this. You could probably get pretty creative, but I did think that that was kind of a smart, tricky way to do it versus, drilling holes in the dashboard of my brand new truck. This way it's right there. I'll put this thing on it. It moves a little bit, but not much. So When you put it on, it just magnetizes, you pull it off, and it comes right off. So it actually works pretty well. Then it just kind of stays there, but I didn't drill any, again, I didn't have to drill any holes or do any permanent damage to the truck. This stays over here out of the way. Because of where it's at next to the seat, there's actually a ton of cord. So I mean, because it's right next to the seat, I can actually hold it really high. So it works really well for sitting in the driver's seat and being able to communicate with people. And then again, when I'm done, just take it and stick it right there to the magnet mount, and it's out of the way. Now I'm going to show you. So I'm a fairly big guy, I'm 6'2", but this is with my foot on the brake, how much room I have, and then this is with it on the gas. So at least where I have it mounted right now, like when I'm on the brake, I'm not even close to it. When I'm on the gas, I'm, you know, half inch away from it, but I've still got plenty of room to operate the vehicle. It's not in the way. I'm not like smacking my leg against it. And because of the way that it's mounted, I could actually adjust this a little bit and make it sort of slide over more if I wanted to, but right now it's actually not too bad. And the other thing that I was thinking, and part of the reason why I mounted it down there, is there's not a lot of really great spots in the 3rd gen Frontier to mount a microphone. So, you know, maybe right here, but it's curved, so there's not any smooth surfaces. The only place that I kind of considered was down here, but then you'd probably have to kind of like turn the mic sideways almost to make it mount there, you know? So it just didn't seem ideal. So anyways, that is how I mounted it. But the magnetic mic mount is awesome because it's just really quick. I don't have to find a clip or anything like that. And again, I didn't have to drill anything. Just put it right there, grab it, slap it back, and you're good to go. So that's how I mounted it on the inside. Now let's go look at the Tapa fuse that I used on the outside. Okay, so as I mentioned, it comes up through the grommet. And basically what I did was then I kind of ran the wires back behind here. I did put a zip tie right here to hold it in place. And you can kind of barely see it right there, but it runs back behind that stock loom and then all the way over, and I did sandwich it kind of back there behind this little clip here, and then it runs down beside this box. Now, what I did was I ran my negative up here, and then I, you know, put on a nice little end cap, put that on the negative for the negative. For the positive, I tapped into this little tiny box right here, and you'll see I have this turned backwards, but so it's actually in this very back plug. So I'm not sure what that powers, to be honest with you. I just tried them until I found one that was an ignition, but this one is an ignition based one. So I turned it around backwards so that it would fit inside the box. And then just FYI, I did cut a tiny little notch in the box here just so that cord could sit flush so it doesn't get pinched in there. So that is just sort of sitting right in that little divot that I cut out there. And then you can throw this box back on there and it just kind of hides the whole thing. So now we'll go into the truck and I will show you, I'll turn it on, show you that it doesn't work when the truck's off and that it does work when the truck turns on, so you know that the ignition is correct. But so let's go try that out. All right guys, so we are sitting in the truck. It is currently turned off. I'm gonna hold the power button, which is how you turn this unit on. Just a couple seconds usually and it will turn blue and it will come on. So obviously nothing right now. Now if I turn on the battery, I'm not gonna start the truck, but I'll just turn on the power. Now that power is on, now I'm going to do it again. And you see it turns right on. So that Tapa fuse spot that I showed you is a correct one to use if you're looking for a way to tap into power that will also shut off, you know, when you shut off the truck. So, you know, again, if I accidentally forgot and I left this on and I get to camp and I hit the power button, turn off the truck, it turns off the radio so you can't accidentally kill your battery, which big concern for all of us campers and overlanders. All right, so that was the install of the Midland MXT275 on my 3rd gen Nissan Frontier Pro-4X. Again, I hope that info was helpful for you. If it was, click that like button. If you're not already, make sure to click the subscribe button, click the bell to be notified when new videos drop. Now that I got this new truck, I have a ton of projects planned for it. So if you're in a 3rd gen or you're looking at getting a 3rd gen Frontier, this will be a great channel for you with tons of do-it-yourself and modification-based content. In addition to that, I do a ton of gear reviews and I do a lot of overlanding, like general stuff, specifically for like newbies and like folks looking to optimize their setups. So if you're into any of that stuff as well, click subscribe. Also in the description below will be links to all my other social channels. So again, wherever you want to hang out, come hang out. I'd love to have you. And then last but not least, there's a link to Patreon and to the Newbie Overlanders group. The Newbie Overlanders group is a Facebook group, totally free to join, tons of people. Patreon has a Discord associated with it. We all chat in it all day long. It's pretty fun. And we have a once-a-month call where we all kind of hang out, drink a beer, smoke a cigar, and chat about our builds and gear and things like that. So again, check out those links in the description below. Also in the description below are going to be links to all the products that I mentioned in this video. So if you just want to make it super easy on yourself, go down there and just click through those links to get whatever you need, and I hope it's helpful. So again, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.